Key Nation, what's going on, man? It's your boy Manuel Keenan. Today you see it in the title. You'll see exactly how to compress modern rap vocals using a Logic Pro X stock plugin, fam. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Man, that like button, we a movement, boy. Let's get it. I kind of stumbled over my intro, but we'll be all right. Key Nation, what's going on, man? You see it on the screen. We have a vocal up here, as you can clearly see. This is actually one of the verses that I dropped, I believe, a year ago. It's called Trust Fund by the homie Adams. I keep on saying this, and I really just need to go back to all of my videos that I've dropped and legit. Hold on, let me fix this mic here. Sorry, y'all, if y'all wearing headphones. Try to make sure y'all hear me. You feel me? Because I'd be away from it. And I don't have one of those like stands where it can go in and I could like talk. I got to do it from the desk. I'm gonna upgrade though. Just let me get a little bit more bread. You feel me? Anyways, man, this is a vocal that I recorded about a year ago. It's from the homie Adams. And as I said before, I need to be putting my songs in the description so that if you guys want to listen to it, you can. I promise to goodness I will do it for this one. And I need to go back and do it for all my other videos as well. Anyways, this vocal that I recorded, and as you can clearly see, it's really, really dynamic. You can see the peaks. Let me just move this microphone out the way. Look, I moved it and I have to move it back over again. Okay, so as you can clearly see, this is a very, very dynamic vocal. Dynamic, King, what does that mean? That means you got a lot of lows and a lot of peaks. You feel me? I'm going high, I'm going low. It's not really consistent. It's not steady. It's very, very dynamic. So that's the vocals that you have here. And how do we tame these dynamic vocals, King? Well, we do it with compression, okay? You don't want your voice sounding all super duper high and all super duper low throughout the mix because it's going to be very uncomfortable for the listener. Okay, now if you're an engineer, you need to know that. That's engineering 101. You want to make sure the listener is experiencing the music, not listening. Okay, and you also want to make sure that the listener is as comfortable as possible when they're listening to the music. Okay, because if they say, this sounds a little bit too eerie, this is too bright for me, this sounds way too crazy, I don't know why the vocals sound like this, but I don't like it. Okay, whenever the listener is saying this, you doing something wrong. All right, fix it, and we gonna learn you today. This is exactly why we here now. Okay, so boom, very, very dynamic vocal. Now I saw that the video that I released earlier, I want to say a few weeks ago, about Logic Pro X stock plugins, y'all actually really liked that video. So I figured let me show y'all exactly what to do whenever you compress a vocal and you do not need, and I will say this over and over and over again, you do not need third-party plugins. If you have a DAW and it has plugins on it, use them firstly, then experiment with third-party plugins. Now, I will say, and I don't care what nobody say, man. I don't care what nobody say. Third-party plugins are better. They are, okay? No, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care, okay? They are. Third-party plugins are better. Okay, there's a reason why you charge for third-party plugins, because they, and from my experience, they cover over a more wide range of vocals, because some compressors don't work with other vocals, you know, and as you engineer, you definitely will start to see that, but some compressors don't work with all wide ranges of vocals, and the more you pay, the better you'll get, the better sound you'll get from a compressor over a more wider range and a broader spectrum of vocals than you would if you had a stock plugin, right? So, but when engineers tell you you don't need them, it's because you really actually don't. You can use, all compressors are the same. They all perform with the same functionalities. But if you have a regular plugin, a stock plugin, you can use it and just learn how to use that first, right? Because that's what is given to you once you have your DAW. Learn how to use that first and then venture in to the third-party plugins and start to experiment and see what sound you like, because no engineer is going to do the same thing. And I keep on rambling. Let's get into this, man. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do for y'all, okay? I actually have the Fab Filter Pro C2, and I will be bringing that up just to show you guys the functionalities of what each thing is doing specifically, right? And I'll literally have it, what Fab Filter does is it literally has it highlighted and shows you the hint, the interactive hint whenever we hover over the function. So that's what we'll do. Let's go ahead and bring this up real fast. How y'all doing today? Y'all doing good? I'm doing good, man. No kizzy cat. It's been a great day. Okay. So boom. This is the Fab. Now keep in mind, we're not using this. Okay, we're just using this as reference, right? As a little cheat sheet, I guess you could say, a little cheat sheet. So if you look over here to bus one, you'll see that I have of course, the dynamic compressor, the dynamic compressor bypass. So we'll go ahead and start this up right here. Okay, so this is your Logic Pro X dynamic compressor. Threshold, ratio, makeup, knee, attack, release. That's pretty much everything that you need to worry about in this video. That's the functionality, I guess the rule of thumb, not the rule of thumb, but your standard functionalities when it comes down to compression on a vocal. So let's go ahead and get right into this, man. I guess, I don't even know if I think it's on default, but let's just recall default and put everything back to where it was before. Now, okay, so let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and play the vocal for you guys so you guys can hear it and see what we're working with. No respect for you. And hold on, why don't I hear it? Oh, I know exactly why I don't hear it. Hold on, Key Nation, give me a second. My fault, y'all. I actually have my headphones plugged into my podcast microphone, so that's why I couldn't hear anything. All right, let's go ahead, man. Let's get it. Yeah, let me play the vocal real fast for you so you can hear it. I'm a rolling stone, boulder should move the fuck out the way when the chip on my shoulder falls and makes all of the levees break. For Christ's sake, the blasphemy, gravitating towards what they have for me. Mad cause I fucked they bitch and left semen all on their balcony. I really try not to put cussing on this channel, but there's no avoiding it with this verse. So it is what it is. Oh man, we ain't doing this for the money, man. We do it because we love it. You feel me? We do it because we love it. Let's go ahead and solo this vocal out and see what we got going here. The vocal is not compressed as of right now. I have it completely bypassed, and we'll just play it and solo it out. Effective when using the antiseptic, maneuvering through the cup, won't get blood on my new 11s. The fuck I look like I'm Al Pacino with pigmentation. How the fuck with pussies, especially if you ovulating. Occupation solely is centralized on abomination. Constipated fucks be stuck up, your shit is a compilation. Understand? Okay, so I just wanted to see what I had going on here. I used some subtractive EQ. So anyways, for this for the comp, right? For the compression, we will go to threshold, right? And let's go ahead and enable it and see what we got. Effective when using the antiseptic, maneuvering through the cup, won't get blood on my new 11s. The fuck I look like I'm Al Pacino with pigmentation. How the fuck with pussies, especially if you ovulating. As far as this plugin, I don't know why it does this, but you have an auto gain here and it's automatically set to -12 dB. We just want to go ahead and turn that off because we don't want a vocal that's already starting off at -12 dB. We don't want that, okay? So we're going to go ahead and turn that off and we'll get started. So for the threshold is how much gain reduction whenever you're applying it to the vocal. And we're going to do extreme parts of it just so that you guys can understand what's going on here, right? So let's start it. Effective when using the antiseptic, maneuvering through the cup, won't get blood on my new 11s. The fuck I look like I'm. And to be even, to make this an even more transparent example for you, let's go to a very dynamic part of the vocal, right? To suffer. Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. Slow, gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till the cup is over, and I know that you ain't living, I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause you hear that? Do you guys hear those peaks that's happening right now? We don't want that. We don't want no peaks. No, 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 no. We don't want that. So, as you guys can clearly see, even though we have the stock plugin engaged, we're not compressing anything, right? Because we have the threshold at 0 dB. And well, like I said, we'll do extreme measures so that you guys can understand what's going on here. To suffer. Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. Slow, gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till the cup is over, and I know that you ain't living, I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to kill it, I'm making $1 million without the lottery, it's still in a piece. And then when I make it, I'm pushing the money while telling the haters you wasn't with me. I don't be capping, you see I'm a beast. Okay, so you guys saw that? That hurts that even hurt my ears. If y'all listening to this on headphones, that even hurt my ears a little bit, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we'll play with it and we'll see what sounds pretty fair. Let's go ahead and engage this beat and we'll see what sounds comfortable.
Ready to suffer. Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till it's over, and I know that you ain't living, I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to kill it, I'm making a million without the lottery of stealing a piece. And then when I make it, I'm pushing the money while telling the haters you wasn't with me. I don't be capping, you see I'm a beast, blood in the air, I can smell it.
Okay, that sounds pretty fair as of right now, okay? And we're going to decide of whether or not we're going to stick with this feature, we're going to stick with this threshold, or if we need to adjust as we go, but that's going to be based off the functions that we attack right now, right? So the threshold, like I said before, is how much gain reduction you have whenever it comes down to the transients of the vocal. Now, the ratio. The ratio is basically for every decibel of gain is one output of gain. So to put this in layman's terms, it's basically if you want it to sound small or if you want it to sound big. So for every 30 decibels of gain, you have one output of gain, right? That's as far as this one goes. So we don't want that, right? Because then that's gonna sound squashed. Think about it like this, okay? I'm gonna simplify this for y'all so y'all can really get it. You feel me? For every 1 decibel, right, you have one output of gain. You ain't really doing nothing with that. You feel me? With every 5 decibels, let's look about this. Okay, now what about 5 decibels? Okay. All right, well now we're gonna allow one output of gain for every 5 decibels, for every 5 decibels of the vocal. Okay. Well, what about 10 decibels? Okay. Now, all right, well, now we'll let one output again for every 10 decibels that sneaks in, right? Okay, well, what about 20? Okay, now 1 decibel again for 20. So you see what I'm saying? The bigger you, the larger you get, the more you're really compressing it. The more you're really compressing it. So I hope that because I ain't gonna lie, when I first started engineering, I didn't really understand how to explain ratio. But whenever I explain ratio to some of my other people that learn and stuff like that, and I do that, they get it. So hopefully y'all understood that. Okay, so boom, let's go ahead and let's play with this ratio. Oh, and I said I was gonna hover over it. Let me show y'all. Ratio net says proportional compression amount of signals. For example, ratio 5:1 means for every 1 decibel of output gain is left for every 5. So that's what I just explained, y'all. So I know I use this, but yeah. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's get it.
Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till it's over, and I know that you ain't living, I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to kill it, I'm making a million without the lottery of stealing a piece. And then when I make it, I'm pushing the money while telling the haters you wasn't with.
Do you see what I'm saying? The more that you up this ratio, the more it's going, the smaller that it's going to sound. We don't want it to sound small. We still want to have that natural sounding vocal, right? So let's try to find a good medium here.
Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till it's over, and I know that you ain't living, I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to kill it, I'm making a million without.
All right, we're gonna stick at 4:1. That's just what I'm hearing right now. We're gonna stick at 4:1 and decide of whether or not we need to adjust as we go, right? So let's go ahead and go into the makeup gain. So what is this makeup gain, Keen? Makeup gain is basically how much we're going to make up for the vocal. As you guys can see, we squashed it, and we wanted to make sure that we had those levels leveled out with the threshold and the ratio. So now with this makeup gain, and as you guys can clearly see, the gain is just look, the gain of the signal after it's been compressed, and is also known as makeup gain, which is what I just said. I don't even know why I got this up. I'm really explaining everything as I go. But anyways, man, so for the makeup gain, it's how much we've lost, right? How much gain reduction that we want to make up for. We've already attenuated what we attenuated with the threshold and the ratio. So a good rule of thumb, and this is something that I've learned by Wavy Wayne. Shout out to him if he ever sees this video. I don't know if he will or not. But a good way to mix your vocal in with the instrumental is determine what the loudest thing of the instrumental is and match your vocal with the loudest instrument. Essentially, on on your beat, right? And for the most part, the loudest instrumental or something that's going to stick out is going to be the snare. So you pretty much want to try to match your vocal with how loud the snare is, just so that you make sure, just so that the vocals sit in the mix, but also sit over top of everything else. So that's a good rule of thumb for those that want to learn that.
Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till the cup is over, and I know that you ain't living, I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to kill it, I'm making a million without the lottery, it's stealing a piece. And then when I make it, I'm pushing the money while telling the haters you wasn't with me. I don't be capping, you see I'm a beast, blood in the air, I can smell it with these. Priming the figure and I'm getting bigger with every bleed to suffer.
Okay, cool. So I just put it up about 5 decibels a gain, right? And it's about the same, because if you think about it, when we started off this threshold, or the default of what it was, essentially, it was at 20, right? So what I did was I attenuated that and I put it down to about negative 24.5, and I made up about 5 decibels a gain, which is about around the same vicinity of what we're looking for, right? So it's all starting to kind of make sense. The math is mathing, right? It equals out. You feel me? So, but now what I want to do is, since I've heard that, I kind of want to play with this threshold a little bit and make it sound a little more natural, and try to find a good medium between that.
To suffer. Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till the cup is over, and I know that you ain't living, I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to kill it, I'm making a million without the lottery, it's stealing a piece. And then when I make it, I'm pushing the money while telling the haters you wasn't with me. I don't be capping, you see I'm a beast, blood in the air, I can smell it with these. Priming the figure and I'm getting bigger with every bleed to suffer. Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till the cup is over, and I know that you ain't living, I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to kill it, I'm making a million with.
Okay, and that's sounding pretty good. That's sounding pretty good, all right? And like I said, what we'll do is we'll go over the functionalities of it first, and then we'll kind of fine tune it, you know, and see what needs to be fixed, what needs to be kind of tuned a little bit. So we'll go over it, okay? So for the knee is basically the roundness of the compression. Think about it like this, right? This is a knee, or at least my example of a knee, right? So this is a knee, okay? So if you want the compression to kind of really like it to sound real sharp, really hard hitting, then the knee is gonna stick like this. But if you want it to be more round, the knee gonna look like this. I don't even know how to make it that, but the knee gonna be round, okay? The knee is gonna be round, essentially, right? So that is what this is basically evaluating. The one it goes from 0 to 1, essentially, right? So from 0, it's gonna be the exact same thing as this. 0 is gonna be really hard hitting, and I'll hover over it so that you guys can see. And what I like about this Pro C2 is that it literally has the visualization of what's going on here, right? So with this knee, as you guys can clearly see, it's at 0 dB, and it's really like hard. It's gonna sound kind of rough, right? Rugged, right? If you want that, you might be aiming for grunge. You might be looking for like metal, rock, something like that. If you have a softer vocal, maybe you want a more softer knee where it's round, as you guys can clearly see, okay? So it all depends on what type of tone you're trying to get, how you want to characterize the vocal, and how is it going to blend in with the instrumental that you're using, right? So for this one specifically, it is hard hitting. We have that really rugged sound. However, it's not like rock or like grunge or something like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to stay kind of in the middle when it comes down to the knee, right? Which is what this is doing. So we'll kind of go maybe with 0.4, 0.5. Let's listen to it.
To suffer. Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till the cup is over, and I know that you ain't living, I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to kill it, I'm making a million without the lottery, it's stealing a piece. And then when I make it, I'll push it.
Okay, and that's sounding pretty decent. That right there is sounding pretty decent. We'll stick it at 0.4, all right? And like I said, you'll use this specifically for whatever instrumental, whatever beat that you're compressing to, you'll use that and you'll do it as you see fit. Don't do what I'm doing. Don't do what I'm doing on this. Okay. I do this. I used to do this a lot. I used to go to tutorials and I used to be like, okay, Leslie is doing this, or I don't know if you know who's somebody that y'all might know. Mixed by Ali is doing this, right? Wavy Wayne is doing this. Sean Devine is doing this. Alex Toomey is doing this. So, I will legit go to their tutorials and be like, they're doing it like that. I'm gonna do it like that. No, man, do it how you do it. I'm just giving you the foundation, okay? I'm giving you the foundation on how to do it, and then the more experience that you get, the more you'll start to understand, okay, this is how I need to attack this vocal because King taught me the functionalities of this. Now I'm gonna put my own spin on it because I know what I'm doing, okay? So always remember that. Now, let's go to the attack. The attack and the release, I'm not finna hover over this, okay? I ain't even going to hover over this. It's really simple. The attack is how fast how fast the compression is going to engage, okay? Fast, just like that. I can't even do it. I can't even do it fast enough. The attack is how fast the compressor is going to engage, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about here. So if you look at this dial right here, it's at 0 milliseconds, which means that it's going to take 0 milliseconds for the compressor to engage fast, right? Now, whenever it comes down to the rap vocals usually have a faster attack because usually they're a lot more dynamic. Whenever you have a softer vocal, i.e. R&B, jazz, things like that, whenever you have a softer vocal, maybe the attack is going to be a little bit more raised because the vocals aren't going to be as dynamic because we're singing in a softer tone. Maybe we're singing, maybe the vocal itself has a softer vibe to it. So keep that into consideration. But for rap vocals, we want to attack that thing fast because of how dynamic the vocals are. And now we'll give you an extreme example, actually. So pay attention to this dial tone. You see how I have the attack at 200 milliseconds? That's exactly how long it's going to take for the dial to do what it does. Do you see that? You see that little okay, let me get it now. Look.
Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over and I won't. So gotta get the pole in the side door.
And even if you hear it inside the vocal, it's not compressing it super duper fast. It's not compressing it fast. So let's go ahead and put this at 3 milliseconds and let's see how fast it grabs it.
Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over and I won't. So gotta get the pole in the side door, I'm low to the it's over and I know that's when.
You see how fast it's taking it? So let's adjust accordingly and see what we got.
Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over and I won't. So gotta get the pole in the side door, I'm low to the it's over and I know that's when living. I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to kill it, I'm making $1 million without the lottery of stealing a piece. And then when I make it, I'm missing the money while telling the haters you wasn't with me.
Okay, so that's looking pretty decent. That's pretty decent. I like that. Now, for the release. This is something that I learned. I don't know where I learned this from. I have no idea where I learned this from, but it seems to work for me. I adjust the release based off the tempo of the song, which is really crazy, but it really makes sense, and it makes it sound a lot more natural. So what does that mean, King? Based off of the tempo of the song and how fast it's going. So if the song is like super duper slow, I will look at how fast the dial is going back to 0. If the song is super duper slow, I will have maybe a slow release on there, right? Depending on how natural, but I'm also trying to evaluate how natural it sounds. So if it sounds like not natural, then I'm not going to, of course, make a super duper slow release on here. But if it's a very fast song, then I'm going to do a super fast release. All depends. But I like to kind of dial this release based off of the tempo of my voice, my breath, and the song. So, or any other artist, of course, right? So, what's the release? The release is how, I probably should have explain this in the opposite direction. But anyways, the release is how fast the effect lets go of how fast the release is, how fast the compressor disengages, right? Quickly. How fast is it going to release the effect is what the release is, of course, right? So let me show you guys exactly how to do that.
To suffer. Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till the it's over, and I know that's when living. I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to keep.
So what we'll do is we'll show the extremes, right?
To suffer. Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till the it's over, and I know that's when living. I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking.
Do you see how the dial doesn't really release? It keeps on holding on to that vocal. It doesn't really let it go. We don't want that, okay? This is a very fast song. We want it to sound as natural as possible, as if you were hearing it live, and we want to keep it within that range, right? So let's go ahead and determine where we want the release based off of that functionality.
To suffer. Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till the it's over, and I know that's when living. I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause elevating is a problem for me. I promise to kill it, I'm making $1 million without the lottery of stealing a piece. And then when I make it, I'm pushing the money while telling the haters you wasn't with me. I don't be capping, you see I'm a beast. Blood in the air, I can smell it with these. Priming the figure, and I'm getting bigger with every bleed to suffer. Out of my way for the dough, gotta mow these niggas over, and I won't. So gotta get the pole on the side door, I'm low till the it's over, and I know that's when living. I'm reaching the feeling, I know it could never be fucking with me. I'm in the building and cracking the ceiling, cause
That sounded pretty dope. That sounded pretty dope. And as you guys can see, that dial was kind of moving back to zero within the pace of how I was spitting, and it moved within the pace of the song, right? Which is kind of what we want to aim for. This video was going on 30 minutes. I had no idea this is going to be this long, which means that it's going to be a later upload tonight, but I will be releasing this so that you guys can see exactly how to do this. And this is in depth, okay? I really explained everything for y'all so that you guys can genuinely understand how to work a Logic Pro X stock compressor plugin. And as I said before, every single one of these plugins have different functions, right? So, but what's good about it is that you see how I dialed in this digital, I guess you can call it digital recall, how I dialed in this digital preset. It stays like this for every version of the vocal. So you can use Platinum Digital, VCA, you can use the FET compressor, another VCA, another FET, you know, so you could use this across all ranges. Doesn't necessarily matter. It's all depending on what you like, what tone you're going for, and how you want to attack the vocal, okay? So thank y'all so much, man. If y'all enjoyed this tutorial, please give this a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe if